Okay, guys, I said that we would go live this weekend, and it has been busy, but here we are. See if anybody is around to join us tonight. Try to just make sure everything is up. Put up. Make sure everything is put up. Don't laugh, it's not funny. Nobody's joining, babe.
Well, we'll exit. We'll come back tomorrow.
It's because it's late. I kept telling you to come on.
That one person.
Who is it? I can't.
Know.
We got 3 people. Hey, guys. Let's see. Hey, Kelly. That's one of my coworkers, babe.
Hey, Kelly.
We are just hopping on. I had told some people that we would hop on and do a quick conversation as we approach 14 years of marriage and what that looks like and how we got here. And so here we are. We have been here celebrating our anniversary weekend. We are getting ready to go play a few games of pool.
Hey, I gotta get my revenge back tonight by any means necessary.
I'm about to get on the pool table. For those who may not know, on our honeymoon, we played pool for the first time, and we have been playing pool on our anniversary weekend ever since. And so it's one of our traditions, something that we really enjoy doing. Wherever we are, we will find us a pool table. And so we're about to get ready to do that. But we just wanted to hop on. Thank you, Paulette, for the anniversary wishes, and to everyone else who has wished us a happy anniversary. As just a young couple, a representation of marriage, and the hopes of building a strong and lasting marriage, we just thought we would jump on and share a few pointers and tips about how we got to this point. I wanted to do 14 facts that you may not know about our marriage, but my husband said that's too much. That's gonna take too long. So we're not gonna be on here long. One of the facts that I wanted to share, I was going to share that we broke up twice before our relationship stuck. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I tell him. Yeah, we broke up. First time we broke up, it was because of me. I didn't really think I was ready, to take on responsibilities, because as a lot of y'all know, she had a son. He was under 2 years old, and I was, single, and felt like I was
ready to mingle.
Yeah, I felt like I was in my prime, so I really wasn't ready to settle down. And I knew what type of person she was, and I didn't want to be the type, to break her heart or hurt her feelings, treat her like I had treated all the ones before her, because I just knew she was different. So in the beginning, I backed out, but here I am, 17 years later, 14 years married, I'm still hanging in there, so I got to thank God for that he kept me.
So he broke up with me, and then we got back together, and I broke up with him because I had to get my lick back. I don't have no other reason.
Whatever.
No, seriously. I just, we started dating, and everything went so fast. Like, everything got serious so fast, and I think it scared both of us. So he broke up with me, and we got back together. And then I broke up with him, and we got back together. And then we stayed together, and here we are, 14 years married. And so we just thought we would jump on and share a few quick pointers if we could encourage anybody. It's funny because I just did a post about, last year's anniversary compared to this year's. And we were at a conference recently, and this guy was talking about giving gifts to his wife. And he was basically saying that before this was a guy that's like a multimillionaire, and he was talking about like how he gives gifts.
Hey, y'all leave Tay Ray alone. If she
Hey,
wanna act
Taylor.
up, let her act up.
Hey, Tay Ray. But he was talking about how now that he has all of this money and he gives these gifts to his wife, people comment and have things to say. But he was basically saying, if you're not a gift giver when you have less, then it's not going to make it easier when you have more to be a giver. if you're a scumbag broke, then you're just gonna be a rich scumbag once you get rich. Is basically
And
is that the words that he
from
said?
Mr. 2 Weeks Out. Yeah,
that's
Mr.
basically
2
what
Weeks
he
Out.
said.
Shout out to him because that's exactly what he said.
That's basically what he said. And so we kind of feel that same way about spending time together and dating. If you enjoy each other's company sitting at home, then when you're able to go and travel and do things, then you're going to enjoy each other's company. Whereas if you don't enjoy each other's company, living in the same house together, then it's not going to make it any better, because you get to this point to where you can travel and you can go and you can do these things. So we just like to talk about that to encourage somebody who may not be able to do things yet with your spouse, or you may have small children so you can't go and do some of the things that you see other people doing. Figure out a way to start building that connection and spending that quality time, even if it's sitting at home. I mean, we shared when we first built our house and we were adjusting to our new mortgage and things like that. We did an at-home date night. It was very inexpensive. We both put effort into it, and we really enjoyed a very, frugal date night at home because we didn't have the money to spend. And so throughout our marriage, we have tried to spend that quality time, even if it meant just doing things around the house, or if we were able to travel and do, things. Our first year anniversary, I was pregnant. So we just went on a quick little trip that was in driving distance, whereas we've been able to take, bigger trips throughout the years. But we just wanted to encourage somebody with that may look around and see other people that, like I said, their kids are older so they can do more, or they have, the finances to travel and do more. Wherever you are in your relationship, start there. Because if you cannot establish that at the ground level, the more you grow and the more that you have, it's not going to make that more doable just because you have more. Or, if you don't like each other broke, you still not going to like each other rich, is basically what I'm trying to say.
And a lot of people, done told us like y'all got like the perfect marriage, and that's just what y'all see on social media. Like, we have our days where we ain't feeling each other. We have our days where we tired of each other. We on each other's last nerve. But for us, like, it's kind of like, just always have respect for each other. Always communicate. Like, we've been together 17 years, married 14. It took me at least, I'm going to say 12 of those 14 married to get to where, I can have patience. I'm just now getting to where I have patience with my wife. Like, I don't get upset as quick. I watch, I never been the type to yell. I never called out her name. I never cussed, none of that. But just anytime I was upset, like, she would tell me, put it like this: I can show every emotion, where the only emotion I was able to express was anger. Like, if I was happy, they really couldn't tell if I was happy, because all I could express was anger. And it used to just be like a look or my tone. So over the years, it took me forever just to get to where, I can express happiness, or just being patient. And another thing that helped us, the hard conversations. Like, have the hard conversations. Even if it hurt her feelings, even if she hurt your feelings, have those conversations, because it ain't never to hurt you, it's to help you.
Right.
Like, I know I'm to the point to where anything my wife tell me, I have to receive it, because I'm like, I represent her wherever I go, whether she with me or not. She represent me wherever she go, so get to where you can have those hard conversations and communicate and be faithful. Like, have trust. Like, do not, whatever you do, under no circumstances, break that trust. Like, my wife don't ever have to feel like she got to compete with another woman.
Even ever. When I'm like at my worst, throughout these years, we have both fluctuated between very fit lives to like where he is now. He's super fit and I'm like on the struggle bus. But regardless of where we are, we have always shown each other that affection and that love, and encouraged and motivated each other. So that communication and that trust, those are like some of the key factors in order to build something that's strong, is going to, and then that is going to last. Also, if y'all have any quick questions, I promised him we would not stay on here long. So if y'all have anything in particular that y'all want us to answer, then y'all can drop a question and we will try to answer it. But as he was talking about with that trust, because like he has a job where he's away a week at a time, and so not only is he away on the road, but I'm home and he's gone a week at a time. And so we knew from the very beginning that trust was like key in order for us to be able to make it. And it's one of those things that trust is very easy to break but hard to rebuild. So the best thing that you can do is not ever put a person in a position to where they are unsure if they can trust you. And so with that, that means being open to each other. We don't have anything hidden. Like, he knows how to get in my phone, I know how to get in his phone. Like, there is no question, or we don't leave room for any of that. Like, I make sure that he is confident in the fact that nobody has access to me in an inappropriate way, and he makes sure that nobody has access to him in an inappropriate way. And because of that when he's gone, he can rest assured that everything is good at home, and I can be at home getting a good night's sleep knowing that this is somebody that I can trust. Even when when he's out of my eyesight, I don't have to worry about that. He has never done anything or given me any reason. And in all honesty, like, some of that takes communication. If anything that he does causes me any kind of feelings towards that, then I bring it to him, because how can he correct it if he doesn't know that something bothers me? But he's also open and willing to receive that even if something was not intended that way, if something makes me feel some type of way, then he has to be willing to make those adjustments for the sake of keeping that trust intact. And so it's a two-way street. In all honesty, you need two people. In order to do this thing, you need to find you somebody who is willing to work with you through all of these stages of life. Like, you need, like, on that post, I talked about the sacrifice that we made to possibly give up our anniversary weekend because of something that I was pursuing. And in order for you to pursue a goal, you need somebody that's going to support you and be willing to sacrifice with you. Like, this man is willing to sacrifice time. He's willing to sacrifice finances. He's willing to sacrifice whatever it needs in order for me to pursue my dreams or my goals. And it's vice versa. Anything that he wants to go after or pursue, I have always been supportive of him. And so you need somebody that's willing to show up for you and be supportive. You also need somebody that's willing to communicate with you. That means have conversations that might make them feel uncomfortable. That means have conversations that might not feel good, but they are good for you. We have had conversations that he has said things that have hurt my feelings. I have said things that may have hurt his feelings, but we knew that at the end of the day, they were coming from a good place. So you need a person that's going to be willing to have those conversations with you, even when they are hard. You need somebody who is willing to put your comfort level when it comes to trust above anything else. That means that if something makes me feel uncomfortable, he's willing to make the changes because he's concerned about keeping that trust intact, and vice versa. So you need a partner who is willing to meet you halfway in all things. That means there is no right or wrong. The only right is what's right for both of you in the long run. And so marriage is a beautiful thing. I know that people have decided that our generation or those below us are, marriage is like a joke to them now. But we just wanted to hop on and just encourage some people as we approach 14 years that it is doable. You have to get with somebody who is willing to do this thing with you, and you can do it. So,
and to the fellas, when you make a mistake, apologize. Don't just say you sorry. Say what you sorry for. Like, make it plain. Apologize for what you did wrong. And another thing, fellas, we as men, we fall out with our homeboys. We'll go out the way to try to make it right. But let us be into it with our spouse. We just kind of blow it off like, oh, that'll be all right. But man, when you have an issue with your significant other, make it right. Right then and there. Don't wait on it. Don't let it fester. Just man up and apologize. And whatever you do, don't give up your 80 for no 20. I can't stress this enough. Do not.
I think I'm a 90.
Well, don't give up your 90 for a 10. And another thing, a wise man asked us, he say, okay, you got a dime. but can you keep her? You know, as men, we be like, yeah, I got it sold up. Okay, you can keep her, but can you keep her heart? So, fellas, ask yourself, you got the woman, you got the fine woman, you got a dime, you know, you got her, but do you have her heart? At the end of the day, go out your way, try your best to keep her heart. And when I say keep her heart, that means keep it safe and don't break it under no circumstances.
And I want to end on the note that, like I said, almost 14 years married, it has not always been easy. It has not always looked like what you see on social media. It was really funny. We did a post one year. We were out for my birthday weekend, and we took this picture, and we got like so many compliments on it, like people talking about couple goals, da 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 da. The hilarious thing about that is, like, literally 5 minutes before we took that picture, we were arguing, like
in our underwear, in our drawers, arguing.
We were in the process of getting dressed to go out for my birthday, and we just had and it was over a little bit of nothing, but we had this argument, like we had a straight up falling out. But like we do, we pulled it together and we got dressed and we took us a pretty picture and we posted it, and people were just like loving the picture and giving all these compliments. And we have always tried to be transparent. So when you see us posting hashtag really the raise, what we mean by that is we try to put what is really true for us. That means that we really have arguments from time to time. That means that we really don't always agree on everything. That means that we really sometimes have to do an at-home date night because we don't have the funds to go and do something fun outside of the house or glamorous or, you know, major. So we just come up with a way to spend some quality time at home together. That means that what you are getting is really who we are. Like, I don't want for 1 second for anybody to look at us and think what I have at home is jacked up and what they have is so perfect. We are two imperfect people with a marriage that is imperfect as well. But by the grace of God, we have been able to continue to build something. And it's because we both make a choice every single day to stay in this thing. We make a choice every single year to be honest with each other about the areas that we need to do better. This man is going to tell me if, babe, you letting the house slip, like you need to get it together. If our cars are like needing maintenance and we just been busy, I'm like, babe, these are things that I need you to do. Like we are willing to correct each other and accept correction and grow together. And so when you see hashtag really the raise, not for 1 second do I want you to think that that is like some glamorous, pat on the back for who we are. We use that to try to encourage people to see the real in what it takes to make a relationship work. And that means on the good days, on the bad days. When you take vows, they say for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer. You know, we have had days where we felt rich. We ain't rich, but we have felt rich. We have had days where we felt poor. We are children of God, so we have never been poor, but we have felt that way. We have had days where we have been sick. This man has seen me with COVID, and at my worst, I have seen him with injuries where we have had to do some very, very unorthodox nursing going on. Like, we have seen each other through the good and the bad, and so we are really trying to keep those vows to each other. That means when things are at its best and when things are at its worst. We have a whole adult kid out here in these streets, and we are just really proud that, together we've been able to just, do what we have done. We hope to continue to do even more than what we have done, but along the way, no matter where we go, no matter what we do, we want to be transparent and real and honest. That it's not going to always be good. But if you are in a relationship, especially if you are in a marriage and you really want to see it work, you have to be willing to do the work. That means you have to be willing to show up for each other, to talk to each other, to be real about what you want, be real about what you need, be real about the fact that we are constantly changing. We got married at 23, 24. Yep. Like, we had both, like, he was 24, fixing to be 25. I had just turned 24. Y'all, we barely knew ourselves. And so throughout those years, I have changed, he has changed. We have had to grow together. And so don't think that you're going to wake up one day and you're either going to have a perfect marriage or it's time to call it quits. Be willing to grow together. Be willing to do the work. If I have not seen any questions, thank y'all for all of the love. Like I said, we are fixing to get ready to go downstairs and play a few games of pool.
I'm winning tonight, every game. By any means,
Last night,
even if I have to cheat, I'm finna win.
Last night, we played 3 games because we started late.
She actually won all 3, we think.
I won 2. We're going to give him the last one because he hit the ball, but he like barely hit it. And so then he just hit it again and the A ball went in. But really,
what's your question, Tasha? Let's go.
What's the question?
Let's go, Kenpo.
Really, I mean, I could say that I won, but because relationships are give and take.
Yeah, and keep your dog in the fight. Stay in the trenches. Keep your dog in the fight.
What's the question? We hope that we have an answer.
I got an answer. I got all the answers.
Him and his big gulp.
No. Gotta stay hydrated.
Today has been a really good day. Like I said on my post, we literally had nothing planned. We have just come down here and winged it. Do you think age plays a factor? Like age.
For men to do, let me answer this. For men to do, because for one thing, I was just telling a guy this the other day, like men, we mature slower than women. So the younger we are, really the more childish we are and the less we know about a relationship. Because even with me, like I say, I'm finna be 39 and I tell my wife, like, I don't always get it. Some things you just gotta tell me. You know what I'm saying? And my wife is a lot more mature than I am. So yeah, I think age, like I have told some of my younger cousins, like talk to them about relationships, and then I get frustrated. I tell them, hey, you just young. It's because you're young, which they get mad at me because they feel like because they grown, that don't mean nothing. But yeah, age got a lot to do with it. Like wisdom. You grow into wisdom. Like you can't learn wisdom. You can't be taught wisdom. Like I honestly think you just grow into wisdom. And I think the older I get, the better I get, the more wise I get, or wiser I get. So yeah, I think age got a lot to do with it.
And like I said, it has a lot to do with it, but if you are willing to grow together, because when we first started dating, we were 21. And so we were really young. Like I said, I had a son already. So I feel like I matured.
And I was super childish still.
I matured. I was, matured faster in general. But once I had my son, it took me to a whole new level of maturity and responsibility. And so when we first started dating, I was a mother and he was for the streets. And so his maturity level was not up to par. And so, but I also saw past that immaturity and I saw the potential that this man had. I also saw, he immediately, even at 21 and with very poor experience in dating, he stepped up. Like he showed me something that made it worth my while to be patient with him through some of the growing up stages. Now, if you got somebody that is not showing you any signs of maturing anytime in the near future, or you have somebody who is not showing you respect or different things like that comes with immaturity, then that's something totally different. But he was always respectful. He was showing signs of trying to mature, although another thing that we have to understand is we all come from different walks of life. And so depending on who you're with, a lot of who they are is based on the examples that they have had set before them. And so just because somebody may not be where you want them to be initially, that could be because they've never seen anything different. But if you are willing to be patient and if they are willing to try to grow, then like I said, you can grow with them through those different stages. And so at 21, neither of us were on the level of maturity that was necessary to truly be trying to be in a committed relationship. But we hopped in this relationship. And like I said, after those 2 breakups, we wrote it out. And so we started dating really fast. One other thing I want to touch on, because one of the people that's on here had asked this question a long time ago, and we never got around to hopping on and answering it. And it was talking about living together before you were married. And I would say we did live together before we were married. And the one person that I ran that by was my mama, because once my mama gave me I'm not suggesting that you live together, but I'm not going to condemn you, I was good on people, because God knew what we were already doing, not living together. So as long as
What was we doing?
As long as God can see and know all things, and I have ran it by my mama, I really wasn't concerned too much about other people's opinions of me. And so, like I said, we did live together before. I feel like we learned things about each other really quickly living together that we would have that could have been a problem had we not figured that out until we were married. So we started like growing together really soon, and we were able to grow through some ways that he was set in, and some ways that I was set in, and we both had to start to kind of compromise on some of those things so that we could really become one. And then, like I said, once we got married a couple of years later, we were still really young, and so we still made a lot of mistakes, and we still had a lot of growing to do. We have made probably every mistake that you can make other than cheating. I mean, we have had communication mistakes. We have made financial mistakes. We have made parenting mistakes. We have made
any mistake that you can think of, like, it's been made.
Like I said, other than cheating. And so
what don't break you gonna grow you. So, and then another thing, since we talking about marriage, I'm gonna let the cat out the bag, and I know a lot of fellas probably ain't gonna like me for this, but ladies, it don't take no 3 to 10 years for a man to decide if he want to marry you or not. Like, it just don't take that long.
We dated 3 years before you proposed. No, we dated 2 years before he proposed.
We talked about marriage. Like, I actually told her, if we make 3 years, like, we get married. Like I told her, the second year I proposed, the third year we was married. So it's just like, I feel like it don't take no 20 kids and 10 years, 20 years to figure out if you want to marry a person. Like, you know that in the beginning if this the person you're going to want to marry. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's just my honest opinion, and I could be wrong, but I'm just telling you from my experience and the way my thinking's set up. I feel like you don't have to put no 15 years in and be like, oh yeah, it's time to get married. Like, you know this from the beginning if this is the person you want to marry.
Thank you, Tasha, for that. I take that as a huge compliment. Like I said, we do not have all of this figured out. We just try to be transparent and real. Yes, Anisha, absolutely.
In 6 months, we was like, that's what it was. Like, in 6 months,
yeah, we were having that conversation.
We was kind of like, we already doing what married people do. Like, we had got a vehicle together at 6 months. Like, we moved in together at 6 months, so we was already having pillow talk about marriage, you know. And I said, I'm being faithful. Like, I'm spending all my time. She had a key to my apartment when I had my apartment. So it's just like, I was doing everything a married person would do. Why not get married? So we was talking about getting married. And like I say, it don't take forever in a day to realize you want to marry somebody. And a lot of guys, and I'm going to say this too, a lot of guys will propose to y'all just to string y'all along for another 5 to 10 years. I'm just being honest. I mean, we all grown ups. Like I say, these hard conversations that I was telling y'all about, like, have these hard conversations. Like, to me, women set a standard. Men set a standard. Like, in the beginning, tell them what you accept and what you don't accept.
Because let me say, I made it very clear that my plan was not to be in a forever dating relationship. Like, we got to a point of introducing each other as girlfriend and boyfriend became uncomfortable. Like, we are, like he said, living together. We are getting vehicles with both of our names on it. Like, at this point, like, get it together. Like, where is this going? And I have always been confident and had enough self-worth and self-value to set standards. There were things in relationships, as long as I can remember, that I was never going to accept. And if that meant being heartbroken but walking away, I would rather do that than to lower my standards and still be heartbroken and in a relationship. Because the thing about it is, if you stay in a relationship where your standards are not being met, you suffer the same heartbreak and disappointment and pain as you would if you walk away. And at least with that, you are walking away with your dignity, your self-respect, and your standards intact. Because the more that you lower your standards or soften your standards, the easier it gets for people to trample over them. And so but see, the thing about it is, a lot of, especially in the younger generations, and y'all, we are almost 40, so this younger generation talk is really like getting real. But like, there are so many people younger than us that get in this mindset of saying, I don't want to be married. But where that stems from is a disbelief and a lack of faith in marriage and the ability to find that for yourself. And the reality is, if you set your standards and if you hold people to those standards, not only will you get that respect and those standards met, you will also be able to experience love and marriage the way that it was always designed for you to get to experience it.
And another thing, I feel like it's us married people, the reason why people don't want to be married. Just like us church folk, the reason why people don't want to come to church. Like, if you married, like, you need to walk in your marriage. Like, you need to carry yourself as I'm married. Like, you don't need to be commenting on every other woman post, liking every other woman picture. If it's family, that's cool. But like, just a friend on Facebook, like, you don't have to comment on and like every picture they post. Just like if you going to church, like, you got to carry yourself a certain way. Like, you can't be out here in the world acting a fool, because somebody that want to start coming to church watching you, somebody that want to be married is watching you. And another thing, if you with a person, you know what's going on in y'all private life behind closed doors. Don't worry about what the world think about your relationship. If this person making you happy, be with them. Be with them. Like, if your parents don't like them, if your siblings don't like them, at the end of the day, you the one got to go home to them. You know what I mean? Luckily, my wife get along with my brothers, my mama, all my family.
I get along with everybody.
Like, I get along with all her family. So, I mean, we got the best of both worlds, but you know, some people don't have that. So, I mean, do what make you happy, but long as it makes sense.
Right.
Like, don't be in social media all happy, but at home getting beat up. And I know some of you women beat on dudes too. Just go for the dudes too. Like, you know if you in a happy relationship or not. Like me, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna be with somebody if I'm not happy. Like, I tell my wife, like, we work hard to keep each other happy. We try, we put in the effort, but the minute we start getting unhappy, we gonna have to have a talk. We gonna have to go to counsel. I ain't just gonna throw in the towel.
We have had these talks. We have gotten to a point to where it's like things have grown stale, or we have gotten so busy that we have allowed just our intimacy and our quality time with each other to lack. And in all honesty, it's just like a gas tank. Which we don't even want to talk about gas right now. Don't nobody comment about gas prices. But if you're not putting gas in your tank, your car is going nowhere. And the same thing for your relationship and your marriage. If you're not putting anything in, eventually you're going to stall out and you're going to be stuck and like stagnant. And we have gotten to those places where it's like, okay, babe, like there's like a disconnect. Like, so when I say really the raise, this is what I mean. I'm being real with you guys. Like, it is not always butterflies and roses. Like, we posted some fire pictures tonight, but it's not always like that. Like, it takes work. And when it's not working, conversations have to be had. The difference between people who make it and the people who don't are you having those conversations and are you not? Because sometimes one person can think everything is good while the other person is over there suffering in silence. Exactly. And that is unfair.
And I ain't saying, you don't, like, you can get advice from somebody, like, but get advice from somebody that's further along than you. Like, we've been together 17 years. My mama, my daddy, my brothers, nobody can tell you none of our personal business. Like, my mama and them don't know now time me and my wife done had an argument. Because if I got a problem, I go to the person I got the problem with, which is my wife. Like, I don't post stuff on Facebook. Like, I don't talk about my wife, down talk my wife to nobody. Like, I don't talk bad about my wife to nobody, especially another woman. No matter how mad I get at my wife, it ain't a person on this earth that can tell you they done heard me talk down on my wife. That's just something I'm not willing to do.
And I'm a Taurus, and I'm stubborn, and sometimes I don't communicate well. So he has every opportunity to have moments where he wants to like go and vent. Now, like, that's not to say, because somebody might be on here saying, he done said something to me. That's not to say that he won't be real and say, me and my wife have issues too. Like, it's not all perfect, because as always, anytime we're in conversation, we will let you know the real, that things are not always perfect. But I have really, really, really close friends, and I guarantee you there's not conversations where they're saying Brandy sits up and talks about Eric doing X, Y, and Z wrong, or that he's not, because we cover each other. We are each other's covering. Like, nobody should have a negative opinion of me because of something that my husband has said about me. Nobody should have a negative opinion of him because of something that I have said. It's not to say that we don't have moments where we let each other down and disappoint each other. We're just not going to take that out to the outside world for other people to have judgment against them.
Now, I have, talked to people about a situation that come up when they, like, if I'm talking to somebody and I'll be like, this is how we handle this situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I got people that I talk to that's older than me about marriage, because two heads are always better than one, like I say. But if you talking to somebody about your marriage and they like, I wouldn't put up with that, or man, if I was you, I'd be out, or girl, if I was you, I'd divorce it. Now, you talking to the wrong person. Like, you got to talk to somebody that know this is real life, somebody that's going to tell you to keep your dog in the fight. Like I said, if this person ain't beating and cheating on you, y'all can work through anything. Like I tell my wife, long as you ain't lying to me, long as you ain't cheating on me, we'll make it through anything. Like I say, we done had our broke days. We done had the bad days. We done had the days where I done cried, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I admit to anybody, I done cried. Like, when it come to my wife, I have cried, and a lot of times it's because I'm knowing I upset her and hurt her feelings. You know what I'm saying? And I have stopped and prayed with my wife about our situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I'm the type, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make my marriage work. That way, if it ever was to fall apart, at least I can walk away saying I did everything as a man that I know to do. Instead of just, I can't take this no more, throw in the towel. And like my wife tell me, if her best don't keep me, ain't nothing going to keep me. And that, you got to give 100. Some days I'm at 30%. My wife got to have the other 70. That's just the way it is. I mean, this is marriage. Like, one hand wash the other. Simple as that. Keep going.
And so, with that, I was trying to see that I missed any questions. I know I saw some comments. I was going to tell Jennifer, like, I didn't know he liked to, he talks. Most people think he's quiet until, like, they really get around him in, like, some personal space and they'll realize that he talks. But when we went to that conference, I think that was the first time that I realized, like, everybody knows me to, like, speak, and everybody knows about, like, my motivational speaking goals and this path that I'm on. I'm really excited about that, y'all. I have, like, some really big meetings and stuff scheduled, and so y'all just be praying for you, girl. But I absolutely love that you were like, me and him need to do something together, because I've always known the wisdom and the things that he has inside of him, because he shares that kind of stuff with me and at home and with our kids. But here lately, a lot more people have gotten to see that it's a lot more in him than what meets the eye. And so we may look into doing something, or at least more of these lives, and especially if we start getting questions. So if you did not post your questions, but you have questions, I think I can convince him to hop on here with me every once in a while and to answer a few questions. We just want to be a help to those. It's, we're here for you if you are single and you have hopes of one day being married. We are here for you if you are married and your marriage may be going through some hardships. And
what worked for us might not work for y'all. Just get that understood, because we done been to marriage conferences and I done heard some of the stuff that, like, some of the older guys say, and I'll be like, it's no way in the world I could do that. Like, for instance, like, one guy say, if he got an issue with his wife, they set a time and a day to discuss it. Me, if we out on date night, and I got an issue, like, I don't mean to tell too much our personal business, but like we got a shower with 2 shower heads, like we shower together. If we got an issue and I'm in the shower with her, like I'm finna talk about the issue right then and there. That's just how I am. Like I'm the type.
And we have argued.
Yeah, we have argued in the shower. So that just lets you know, like, I mean, this is real life. Like this is marriage. Like this is how this thing works. And to me, as a man, you got to have a reason. Like you got to have a purpose. Like my reason, I can give you 3: my wife, my son, and my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because if something happened to me right now, I want my wife to be like, I was a good husband. Like when my son decided one day, you know, he want to get married, he should watch me long enough, and I done had enough talk with him. He should know exactly how a man's supposed to function in a marriage. And my daughter, she know exactly how a man's supposed to treat her, you know, when she get older and in a relationship. Like I told my daughter, if the man ain't better than me, like you can't be with him. And her response was, well, Daddy, I ain't gonna never find nobody. Like I tell my daughter, you supposed to feel like that. I'm your daddy, but there's some guys out there that can put me to shame. You know what I'm saying? This is why I say, like, I like being in a room with the elders because they got wisdom. And people like my grandpa, before he passed away, I remember me and him having a conversation. And I was like, Papa, how long y'all been married? He was like, 53 years. I'm like, no, not together. I'm talking about married. He was like, I'm telling you, we've been married 53 years. Like, when I went home, like, it was a weight on me because I'm like, I'm knowing 53 years of marriage, like, you done seen everything that you can see. You done been through everything. And I'm just like, you know what type of man and woman you got to be to stay stuck with somebody for 53 years? Like, that takes some commitment. But I'm trying to get there. Like I tell my wife, I want us to get old and gray together, talking about old, like reminiscing about old memories while still making new memories. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my goal, to see this woman old and gray.
He was lotioning at me today, and he told me, this is how I'm going to have to do when you get old. And I said, yeah, I'm going to be old and wrinkly. But so he gave 3 things. A couple of quick things I want to say, and then we are for real going to hop off unless I see any other last minute questions. But he was saying that not all advice is going to work for you. And we were just having this conversation earlier today, or it might have been yesterday, but I was telling him anything that you get as far as advice is like a buffet. You go to a buffet, you do not have to eat everything that's on it. You take what you like and what's good for you, and then you just leave the rest. And so anytime you are around wisdom or you are getting any kind of advice, not everything is going to be fitting for your situation or work for you, but you take from it what you can or what you need, and you leave the rest. You don't have to criticize if somebody suggests something that you think is outlandish or it wouldn't work for you. You don't have to feel like none of it makes sense because one part of it sounds a little bit awkward or odd. You just take what you can or take what you need, and you just leave the rest. It's just like a buffet. And then he gave 3 things that he can say right now that keeps his fight in for our marriage. And what I will say is, I have seen enough of what it looks like when it does not work. I come from from parents who were divorced and love them both to death. They did the best they could to make sure we still feel loved and taken care of despite being children of divorce. But I think we've seen so much and enough of what it looks like when it does not work. And so one of the things that keeps me motivated is I want to see what it looks like when it does work and when it does last. And when our kids are adults and are married and have families of their own, and they're bringing their kids back to, I don't know what we're going to be called.
You can call me Pawpaw. Like,
Pawpaw,
I'm cool
and
with Pawpaw.
I don't know.
Accepted. When I get old and I become gray and a Pawpaw, old man Pawpaw, like I accept
Grandma,
it. Like, I ain't running from it.
Whatever they call me. But when we get to that point and when we get to that stage, so to me, that is a constant reminder that it's worth it to work through whatever we go through. And like I said, to be clear, because we have so much love and respect for each other, we do not have to deal with anything like major disrespect or cheating or anything like that. And so it's a complete different story when you are dealing with abuse, whether verbal or emotional or physical, or if you are dealing with, infidelity. That's a whole nother conversation. But we are mainly talking tonight on those of you who feel like because it may not be where you want it to be, is it worth fighting for? And we just want to encourage you with that it is worth fighting for. And so that's all we have for tonight. I think
take the bull by the horn. Just be a leader. That's all I got. Just be a leader. Step up.
Be a leader.
Yep. Don't throw your towel in too early.
I will leave this live posted because I know some people came on a little after. But that's all we have for you tonight. Like I said, once again, thank you everybody for the anniversary wishes. We are about to go get on the pool table and call it a night for social media. Bye. Y'all have a good night.